UFC on ESPN Plus 13 goes down this weekend, and it is Germain De Randamie versus Aspen Ladd in the main event. We're going to start at the main event, but we're going to go down through the full main card and give our picks for our under-the-radar fights on the prelims. We're going to break these fights down and give our predictions. So, as I said, we're going to start with the main event. There was a little bit of controversy when this was announced. A lot of people didn't think this fight was really up to scratch for the main event of an ESPN Plus card. But they are two highly ranked fighters in their division. Where do you fall on this debate?
Personally, no, I don't think it's a good main event for ESPN Plus. I've only sort of first looked at this card this morning. It's actually a really solid card. It's a very solid card. It's a tough main event to promote, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a good fight. It's a solid card. It's a tough main event to promote.
Yeah, I think it's a really good fight for hardcore fans. Yeah. Not really something that's going to bring people in. But I suppose with ESPN Plus, like, they want people to subscribe. They want new customers to come in. But I guess their 13th event, they can afford to have something a bit more hardcore-y, if that's if that's a word. So I do like the fight though itself. I think it's a fairly good fight. If you can get the rankings up there on UFC.com, I would appreciate that when you get a chance. But I know they're really highly ranked because on Tapology, at bantamweight, Aspen Ladd is ranked number 2, and Germain De Randamie is ranked number 1. So they definitely are highly ranked. And it's an interesting clash of styles because with Aspen Ladd, you have a girl who's a good striker, but she's very basic and she does the basics well, but she isn't very dynamic. And with Germain De Randamie, again, similar, she does the basics very well, but she's way more experienced and she has more tricks up her sleeve. But then you have to look at the grappling and you have to look at what Aspen Ladd has managed to do against most of the girls she's fought. And she had trouble in her last fight, I thought. I thought on the feet she was having a little bit of trouble at range, and that could be a problem in this fight. But once she got it to the floor, she's like a killer down there. She's an absolute killer. Her ground and pound is insane for women's MMA in general. I don't think you really see what she can do. When she lands strikes on the ground and she screams, it's crazy, and it's very effective. So I think the clash of styles is interesting. And I do like the fight. And what's your thoughts on the fight itself? Not as a main event, but just as a stylistic fight.
I think it's interesting. Germain De Randamie is in a position as well. If she loses, she's on a good win streak. She's on a 4-fight win streak. She's beat, that's going back to 2015, that 4 fights. Yeah. I mean, the win against Holly was contentious at best.
Yeah, she probably lost that.
Raquel Pennington, November last year. Yeah. Beat her. She gets a win over Aspen. I'm just looking at the rankings now on the UFC. Germain is number 1. She's gone up 2 places because Holly lost, obviously. Yeah. And then Aspen Ladd is number 4. So I suppose realistically, it's a number 1 contender fight, isn't it?
I think so. And with Germain, if you remember, what happened with her was she became the champ at 145. Yeah. The first champ
by default.
Well, she beat Holly in a weird fight that she probably, lost. And there was like a couple of eye pokes and like, I think there was eye pokes, but there was a few shots after the bell anyway. And I thought she lost that fight. But then Chris Cyborg was basically in contention to fight. And Germain De Randamie said, I don't want to fight her. She takes too many drugs. Yeah. I'm going to go back down to 135, which is bizarre for a fighter to give up their title. Especially because in the UFC, if you're a champion, from all the reports that I've seen, you make a lot more money. And it is a substantial amount of money. Now, I know a lot of that comes on pay-per-view, and I'm not sure how many pay-per-views a Germain De Randamie fight would actually sell. But if she can get on the undercard of a big event as a champion, that's substantial. So it's a little bit curious that she would drop a title. Apparently because she doesn't want to fight somebody because they take drugs.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, she has a loss to Amanda on her record as well. Yeah. Back in 2013. Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know, do I want to see her and Amanda again?
Yeah, I'm not sure either, if I'm honest. But I would like to see Aspen Ladd get a title fight. Not right away, down the line, I think, because Aspen Ladd, I'm very high on her. Even back in Invicta, when I watched her, I thought she was very, very good. And she has two wins over Sijara Eubanks now. Yeah. That last one I thought was a good fight for her because, as I said, in the first round she had a bit of trouble. But once she started getting takedowns, once she started getting comfortable, she looked really good. This is a real experience versus, fresh upcoming fighter. I don't really like Aspen Ladd if it stays standing, because I think Aspen Ladd is that plodding striker who, she can take a shot and she does come forward, but she doesn't really have great footwork, whereas Germain could start, landing shots from the outside, especially with her leg kicks and her Muay Thai. She's really excellent from out there. So I think if it stays on the feet, I think Aspen Ladd could be in a bit of trouble. But I just think Aspen Ladd is so aggressive, so tenacious that she'll get some takedowns, get it to the floor. And I like Aspen Ladd by maybe a finish on the floor, ground and pound, but probably more likely a decision. So I'm going to go decision for Aspen Ladd. Not hugely confident on it, but I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, the odds are interesting on this one. Germain De Randamie is a 6-5 underdog.
Okay,
that's okay if you fancy Germain to actually impose herself on Aspen Ladd and take over the fight with her Muay Thai and her striking. Yeah, that's not bad.
That isn't bad. Yeah,
but then Aspen Ladd 8-13. If you like her to be aggressive, as you say, and then take it to the ground, then it's probably going that way. I'm struggling with a pick on that one.
Yeah, it's the reach is a big one as well. There's a big reach disadvantage for Aspen Ladd. It's 72.5 inches to 66 in favour of De Randamie, and she does fight well at range. And Aspen Ladd does have trouble closing the distance sometimes. She can do it, and that's her game. She closes distance and gets takedowns. So yeah, it's an interesting one. If you do fancy De Randamie here, it's definitely a good bet. But I do like Ladd.
Yeah, I'll take Aspen Ladd as well, but not massively confident. I think it could potentially be a bit of a coming out party for her, though. You never know. Yeah. I
also think there's a bit of me wanting her to win.
Yeah.
That's playing into this. But I like the fight. It's good.
I think it's probably better for the division if Aspen Ladd wins.
100%. Yeah, 100%. The co-main event is the return of the California Kid, no longer a kid, Urijah Faber against Ricky Simón. This is an interesting one, I think, because I think when Urijah Faber was talking about a return and a comeback to MMA, a lot of people assumed, they're going to give him some kind of legend, maybe someone he's had some history with. But they're giving him this up-and-coming kid in Ricky Simón, who's been on a tear in the UFC and has looked really good. Do you read anything into that, or is it just this is the matchup that was ready, or do you read that into maybe they're trying to make a name off Urijah Faber's name?
Don't know, it's weird. I think Dillashaw was the fight to make. Then he went and popped for EPO.
As you do.
Yeah, Simón's on an 8-fight win streak. I'm just looking at it here. He had a split decision win on the Contender Series back in 2017. Yeah, didn't get a contract because you can't be going to the judges on Contender Series.
Be doing that now.
Won 2 more fights, then got a guillotine choke win on
there's Philly
on a Fight Night. Yeah,
excellent win.
So yeah, he's on an 8-fight win streak. It's weird matchmaking. I understand putting Faber on the card. It's Sacramento, it's his hometown. I'm not sure. Yeah,
I think it's a very, very weird matchup because like Urijah Faber, he's not going to look better than he did before, but he also didn't look bad when he left. He went off on a win, and it wasn't against somebody who was a world beater at that time. It was against Brad Pickett. Yeah, I love Brad Pickett, but Brad Pickett had to retire at that point. Yeah. So he didn't look bad. He was still competing at the highest level against the best guys. He lost a decision to Jimmy Rivera. He lost a decision to Dominic Cruz, beat Brad Pickett after that. So he wasn't on the worst run of his career, and I thought he went out at a good time. I thought he went out and I was like, excellent. Urijah Faber went out, not on a loss, looked good. Clearly isn't his health isn't diminished from fighting. It doesn't seem. No. But I just don't see how coming back now after what? So that's 2016. So coming back, along a good few years afterwards, how he's going to look better. I don't think he will look better. And he was losing to guys like Jimmy Rivera and, Ricky Simón. I think you can compare to someone like him, a newer type of fighter. So to be honest, I kind of like Ricky Simón here. Yeah. I'm not saying Urijah Faber doesn't win the fight. I just think it's very difficult to pick Urijah Faber against an up-and-coming guy who's aggressive, who I think will want it more. I think he's a guy who has something to fight for. I don't know why Urijah Faber's coming back. Maybe it's just the love of the game. Some fighters are, you could probably say most fighters, probably just love it. Yeah, they love it. It's their job. Like if someone told me I can't do my job anymore, I probably wouldn't like that. Although you never know. But you know what I mean. If someone told me I couldn't do what I loved, or if I just walked away and I still felt like I could do it, I understand why someone would come back, but I just don't know competitively. You know, I don't see him looking better than he did before. And even if he looked exactly the same, I think Ricky Simone has a decent shot because he's a good fighter. So with all that time off and all that said, I'm going to go with Ricky Simone to win this fight. Again, it's one that could go either way, and I'm not too sure.
Yeah, the momentum is very much with Simone. He's on that 8-fight win streak. He's 3-10 favourite, so quite a large favourite. 11-5 on Urijah, if you like that.
Urijah Faber is 40.
Yeah.
And his nickname is still a California kid.
I'm struggling to pick Urijah. Yeah, like all that time off. He's 2-3 in his last 5 fights before he retired.
Yeah. Against the best competition, to be fair. Well,
it was,
apart from Brad
some
Pickett.
of them were. It was Dominic Cruz, Frank Yeager were in there, like losses. So some good opposition, but
that was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Almost 2.5 years. Yeah, he's out of the ring or out of the octagon. I'm struggling to pick him.
Yeah, and if you're looking at the
what's the topology?
Reach and all that, it's not too far off. So Urijah is usually. Reach wise, he's usually on the lower end, but it's not too far. It's like 3 inches in it.
The topology picks for this one are 75% Simone and 25% Faber.
Wow, I thought that would have went the other way. Interesting. I thought I was being a hipster picking Simone there for a second.
No,
obviously not.
No.
We didn't check the topology for Aspen Ladd, did we?
No.
Let me check that real quick. Ladd 63, De Randamie 37. That one kind of makes sense. Yeah. Next up, Josh Emmett, another hometown boy, or at least home-trained boy, against Mirsad Bektic. Probably the second best, apart from the main event, second best match fight on the card in my opinion. What's your thoughts on this fight?
Looking forward to seeing Josh Emmett.
Yeah.
Because he looked really good when he came back from injury.
Yeah.
Then took a loss. Am I right? Yeah. And he's a slight underdog in this one. He's 5-4. And Bektic is 4-7. And topology is telling me that 62% of people think Bektic will win and 38% Emmett.
Yeah, so I'm very torn on this one. I think it's a well-matched fight.
Yeah.
So obviously, his last fight, Emmett against Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
I thought he was losing that fight up until he won it in the end. It was a big shot that he landed in 4:14 of round number 3. And I thought Michael Johnson was controlling that fight. And I think Bektic can do a similar thing in this fight. I think he can control it. The best thing that Bektic can do is he gets takedowns, and he gets them a lot. But Josh Emmett has a great wrestling background as well, and generally isn't taken down. So I wonder if this stays on the feet, how it will look, because Mirsad, I'm going to go with Mirsad because I'm fucking his name up. He has good striking, but you know, he is vulnerable there. You saw with the Darren Elkins fight where Darren Elkins had that crazy comeback against him. He can be vulnerable there. But if you look at his record, he has some great wins there. And he was very dominant up until then. I'm just not sure what happens if this goes to the distance, because Mirsad is very, very difficult to beat over 3 rounds. I thought Emmett in the Johnson fight, he was a slicker striker, definitely. I just thought he was losing that fight until he landed that big overhand right. But then he always has that ace in the pocket, you know. He always has that big right hand. So, this could easily be a card where I go, 0-5 on my picks. I understand that. I'm gonna go with Mirsad to win this fight. I'm gonna go by decision.
Yeah, I remember that Johnson fight now.
Yeah.
Emmett was losing it until he
definitely
won it.
Losing it. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a really tough fight to pick this one.
It's a really well matched one. Yeah. This is what I say, it's a really solid fight. Not going to attract a lot of attention either, probably not outside of the hardcore. No. But yeah, a really well matched fight. I want to take Emmett. I'll take Emmett, I think. But yeah, not overly confident.
I'll be interested to see the odds on this, because I have the topology picks.
Yeah.
And it's 62% Bektic, 38% Emmett.
Yeah.
I feel like the odds are probably a little bit closer, but maybe not.
Yeah, so Bektic is 4-7 and Josh Emmett is 5-4.
Yeah,
so pretty much a pick 'em.
Yeah.
Which is fair.
Interesting. I like that fight a lot. That's one of my favourite fights on the card for sure. Next up, it's Carl Robertson against Wellington Tormund. Carl Robertson is a fun fighter. I'm a big fan of the way this guy fights. Baby K is his nickname.
Great nickname.
Great nickname. But yeah, he's an interesting fighter. He has some losses on his record against Glover Teixeira and Cesar Ferreira. Kind of the older statesman, or the elder statesman of the division, but he's coming up against a guy here who isn't really. He's a debutant in the UFC, fought for Future FC. He likes to submit people. Carl Robertson has been susceptible to submissions, specifically arm triangles from both Teixeira and Ferreira. So if Tormund can get the takedowns going, I think it's a good fight for him. But I really do like Carl Robertson on the feet. I think if he can keep it there, he looks really good. I think he made some mistakes against Glover Teixeira. I actually picked Glover in that fight, and I know a lot of people were on the Robertson hype train. Maybe, hype train's the wrong word, but I know a lot of people were on Robertson in that fight. But I'm going to go with Robertson to bounce back in this one. It's a debut for Tormund. He does look good. Haven't seen too much of him. But the guys he's beaten, even though they're on regional promotion, sometimes, they get matched very poorly. But he fought in Brave a good few fights ago. And he's generally fought good guys like 13-3, 12-3, 17-4. So these aren't really bums, Not saying they beat the best guys, but at least he has a good winning record. So he looks like a good fighter. But I'm gonna go with Robertson. I like the way he fights. He's entertaining. But if it does hit the floor, he could be in trouble because he seems to make a lot of mistakes there. Yeah,
I quite like Tormund in this one.
Yeah.
He is very susceptible to the submissions, Robertson, and I think needs to keep it on the standing.
Yeah.
Not sure whether he can. And as you were saying, he does have some very good wins, Tormund, on regional promotions.
Yeah.
A couple of submissions in there as well. He's on a 4-fight win streak. So yeah, I'm going to take Tormund in this one.
Nice. Good pick. Up next is Montanche Cesar Ferreira against Marvin Vettori. Again, this is a really fun fight. With Cesar Ferreira, he came off the Tough Brazil show, I believe. Looked good. He was a protege of Vitor Belfort, from what I know, and he has a capoeira background, but he does seem to be a little bit chinny in his career. On the other hand, you have Marvin Vettori, who, if you remember Marvin Vettori, let me just make sure and verify I'm talking about the right guy, because that would be embarrassing. Yes, I'm talking about the right guy. When he fought Israel Adesanya, and he's an absolute crazy gentleman, and he was coming forward saying, hit me, and Adesanya just couldn't put him away. And it was a split decision in the end. I thought Adesanya won the fight. Not handily, it was a tough fight, but I thought he definitely took the judges' scorecards, or should have. But Marvin Vettori is a guy who won't go away. He's going to keep coming forward, lands big shots, and I don't know how well Montanche is going to deal with that, because he hasn't dealt with that in the past very well. He's the type of guy who gets wobbled quite a lot, and he does fall back on his wrestling and his grappling when he does that. But sometimes, that can be a problem. And I think it's going to be a problem here. I like Marvin Vettori here. I just think he's a little bit too tough for Ferreira. But if you're looking at, who both guys have beaten, I think you should have Ferreira as the favourite. But I do like, style-wise, I like Vettori here.
Yeah, Ferreira isn't the favourite.
Is he not?
No, he's not. He's 6-5 underdog, so quite a small underdog. And then Vettori is 8-13. But I think, I agree with everything you've said, and I think Vettori is a fair favourite in this one, and I like him as well.
I like that.
He's fought the higher quality opposition.
Yeah. Is there anything on the prelims that you really like?
Darren Elkins was on the prelims as well. Andre Fili against Shimon Moraes. Juliana Pena against Nico Montano is a fun fight. Yeah.
There's some it's a real hardcore card, I think.
Yeah.
Like, this card gets me excited a little bit. Especially like if you look at that, Andre Fili against Shimon Moraes, that's a great fight. That is a really, really well matched fight. Andre Fili is looking really good lately. Shimon Moraes is a bit of a prospect. Has some problems, but a bit of a prospect. Pena coming back against Montano. Be interesting to see how Montano performs. She obviously has a storied background. And Darren Elkins against Ryan Hall. Say what you will about Ryan Hall. He's a tough guy to beat.
Yeah.
And I'm very interested to see what happens in this, because Darren Elkins usually grapples. Ryan Hall will welcome that grappling, so I'm very intrigued to see what happens in that fight.
It's a very solid card, so yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm going to watch.
So apparently if you press this button somewhere here, it subscribes and you get all the notifications for the show. So hit that button there.
You have to click the bell though to get the notifications down the bottom.
Make sure you hit that, and they get the ringer things, because Rob didn't know. So it's the button there, or there.
It's somewhere roughly around that area.